Welcome to Blueprints and Backstories, the show that brings you incredible stories of industry leaders who've turned their dreams into reality. I'm your host, Corban Tenney, and I'm thrilled to be your guide as we discover the game-changing strategies, inspiring challenges, and defining moments that have shaped these remarkable careers. Today, I'm absolutely delighted to introduce you to an extraordinary individual, Ridge Wilson, a dynamic safety professional revolutionizing the construction industry, but also making an incredible impact through community mentorship. You're in for an amazing conversation about leadership, determination, and the life-changing power of giving back to your community. I'm so excited to have you with us on Blueprints and Backstories, your go-to destination for genuine heart-to-heart conversations with incredible trailblazers who are transforming their industries in amazing ways. Join us as we jump into this fantastic discussion with Ridge Wilson. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to catch more incredible stories. Let's get this started. We're excited about the opportunity here to be able to introduce you to one of our sponsors. This is going to be the first episodes of Blueprints and Backstories. We've got Ridge Wilson on the call here. I found Ridge actually on LinkedIn, and he is awesome. He's got some really cool content. I like the way that he kind of approached things. I love his enthusiasm, his excitement. He started a company that I thought was going to be perfect for our groups that we work with. And so I wanted to real quick introduce Ridge Wilson. He's the owner of Stay Positive Safety Solutions. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
awesome. And then you also have Dry Bones Skate Collective, right?
Yes, that is a nonprofit in our community. Yes, sir.
I love it. I love it. I'm not a skater, but it's one of those things I always wanted to do. See, I'm a little older, so Tony Hawk was my idol.
That's so awesome.
The funny thing is, I went out and bought a Caballero shirt,
Okay.
Steve Caballero shirt, and Pal Peralta. I don't know if
Yes, I do. I know. I'm very familiar with both of them. Yes.
So that's ages me for sure. But I want to real quick introduce you, get a chance to kind of get to know a little bit about you. What we try to do in this podcast is we want to make sure that we know the backstories, the people that have been in the trenches, had the opportunity to be able to start off in high school and just moved up into an expert in an industry. And we know you're an expert in safety, but you had to get there.
Yes.
So I wanted to get a quick introduction to who you are and get your backstory. Tell us a little bit about how you got started and how you got to this specific point.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I appreciate it. And thank you so much for the opportunity to come on here and get to share my story with you guys. So I started as a laborer. My father's been in the trades, my uncles were in the trades, and really I was in that era of when I started freshman year in 2005 or 2004. At that time, and I'm from California, at that time, they had taken out auto shop, they had taken out masonry, they had taken out woodworking, and everybody was preaching, hey, go to college, which is great. People should go to college, but
Yeah.
I found myself as one of those individuals not going to take those steps and go to college. I didn't, that wasn't in my future. And
Yeah.
so I found myself wondering what I was doing. So naturally I fell into the trades, and my dad is a over the road truck driver and he's a mover. So
Nice.
with that, I started moving, and I was planning on being a CDL over the road truck driver. But then my first son came, and by this time I moved to Tucson, Arizona. I was 20 years old. My firstborn son is on his way, and I didn't want to go over the road constantly and not be present with my son. So I decided to go back to some things I did in high school during the summer with my uncles or with my friends, dads, and that was construction. So I got a job here, well-known ESOP company here in Tucson, Arizona. I worked there for 10 years. When I started there, my title was a parts runner, a laborer, a gopher. I was cleaning toilets, pulling weeds. I was running parts. I was changing light bulbs, all that fun stuff.
That's awesome.
But I didn't want to stay there. So I also sought out different things, and I was working in a shop. So I started learning mechanics, and I went to Pima Community College. And I was that kid that didn't want to go to college, but they had something there for me. They had the mechanical ASE certification where you go from small engines all the way up to heavy diesel stuff. And during this transition, I'm working at a shop, working in the construction field, operating equipment, but I don't know how to fix it. And I'm also climbing the ladder of, he's a really good laborer, but he's got drive, he has potential. He's a sponge.
Yeah.
He's soaking things up. And look at, he's even taking the own initiative on his own to go to school to become a mechanic because he's working around all these mechanics and he's kind of getting
Yeah.
some authority or charge over them because I became like a shop administrator. So I
Hmm.
went from running the parts and doing all this stuff to now being over the shop, and I had 15 mechanics underneath me and I didn't know a thing about mechanics. So I found myself
That's
going to
awesome.
school, educating myself, getting all the way ASE certified. And now if you ask me to work on your vehicle, I say ASE stands for ask somebody else because I might not be able to remember how to do it.
Exactly.
um
That's
and
awesome.
as I found myself in that shop, the company that I was working with during this 10-11 year period, they saw that I had a lot of influence and they could use me somewhere else. I was very
Hmm.
heavily in the field around the equipment, jumping in the trenches with guys. So they decided, hey, Ridge, we want to turn you into a safety officer. My whole career in the construction, the safety guy wasn't, he was a cop. He was like the bad guy. He was there to bust you. You know what I mean? He was the principal. You got sent to the principal's
Yeah.
office. And
Yeah. He's watching everything.
I've been in the principal's office too many times in high school. So I was
Yeah.
like, wait, man, I built this career on helping people and establishing and building relationships and serving people. And now you're telling me to ruin my reputation. But I went home, I
Yeah.
thought about it, and I thought about my family and the choices and what it could come. And I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
a couple weeks into being a safety officer, I realized I've been doing it my whole career. I was
Hmm.
the employee bold enough to speak up and say, dude, I'm not doing that. Tell me how that's safe. You want me to get in this
Right.
hole where it's 10 feet deep and there's no protection? Why don't you do that? Because, that
Yeah.
paycheck that you're paying me isn't worth my life. I got
No.
more
I
things
got.
than this. So I got into that safety position and realized I was doing it. And then one of my great friends and mentors in the industry, Ramon, he was working at another company. They were a small company. Their heartbeat was very faint, 20 employees or so. Didn't
Yeah.
have a safety program, didn't have proper training, didn't have proper procedures or policies in place. So he asked if I could come over and help, and I decided to do that. That was about 4.5 years ago. And
Hmm.
went there. We built policies, trained employees, built supervisors, put things in place. We built the company within 3.5 years to about 80 employees. The revenue jumped, and we went from 8 accidents at 25 employees to zero.
Wow.
And that is huge in the industry because as you see that
Yeah.
growth and new employees joining your team, now you're starting to see more accidents because you got new people coming on. And I felt like I brought the company to where it needed, and now I want to go out and I want to help other contractors do the same thing. So I started Stay
Hmm.
Positive Safety Solutions, where I'm a consultant for other contractors that may not have a safety person or their safety person needs some help. So I go in and I train their individuals. I go and teach on like John Maxwell leadership. I'm a
Hmm.
certified John Maxwell coach and
Very
teacher
cool.
and instructor. So I go in and I teach those principles. You're not just getting this OSHA book, but you're getting
Yeah.
soft skills, you're getting leadership skills, you're getting, how do I deal with conflict resolution? And when this guy's yelling at me, how do I deal with that stuff? So that's what
Yeah.
Stay Positive Safety Solutions does. And we also work with like the Goodwill and youth, and primarily second chance youth, kids that found themselves in similar situations as myself, where I was in trouble
Hmm.
at a young age, didn't have the right guidance. We go into those communities. We help mentor these young individuals, 16, 17, 18 to 24 is that young youth
Hmm.
age for
Yeah.
us. And we certify them and on an OSHA 10, get them their understanding of safety and what to do on a job site. We get them certified in ATSA flagger
Hmm.
certifications, John Maxwell leadership stuff, other justice involvement stuff. We get them work and we teach them how
That's
to
great.
give back to society, may be a contributing member. Despite what you've been through in life, you don't let that hold you back.
That's one of the reasons why I wanted you to get on this call, because these kids are starting off in high school and they have all this struggles in regards to what do I do, right? And they're told at the youngest age that, hey, you need to go to college right off the bat, and going to college is going to give you the direction that you need to go,
Yep.
right? And most people are going to say, hey, look, number one, I can't afford to go to school, right? And then the other thing is, that's not really the direction I want to go. I don't know the direction I want to go. And so we always look at people that have kind of looked had that experience, started off with, I have no clue where I want to go, and then went through that process and learned the trade, learned the skills, learned the things that they needed to know to be able to get to that point where they could be able to share something different,
That's
right?
awesome.
in your case there, you've done something different. Before, safety was, a cuss word. People didn't want to do it anymore, right? This is to say safety is important, but it's boring, right? And I think in your case there, what you were able to do is take that and make it exciting, make
That's
it
awesome.
something that they could be able to use and grow with, and then you built a whole entire business out of the whole thing, which I think is awesome.
Thank you. I really
So
appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. So in this case here, we give the backstories. You give an awesome backstory. Question I had to you is, what was your blueprint for success? Right? You went through that process and you had a great history, but tell me a little bit about the blueprint. What made you successful? Because in this case here, you could be still doing the same thing that you did before, following the same path that everybody else was, but it wouldn't put you in this specific position that you're in now.
That's a great question because I didn't get too deep into my story, but I didn't have those leaders. I didn't have those role models. And as I got into construction, I didn't really have the blueprint. But something that I learned really early on is servant leadership. And if I can serve the people around me, I'm gonna gain influence. And by serving that and getting that little bit of influence and serving another person's vision, it's gonna give
Mm-hmm.
me a better understanding of that. So as I went through my career, everybody that was put in my path as my leader, I completely submitted and served them. And I tried
Yeah.
to, how did you get there? And then figure out the good, the bad, the ugly for myself, and then protect that person from the others
Yeah.
and don't let them see the nasty. Let me eat that nasty up. And then you learn how, when you start elevating into different platforms by following those people that stood before you learn how to be a better leader. You learn how to navigate that blueprint from there. So I believe
Right.
the blueprint for me is by following those that are in your path, looking up to
Yeah.
those. Who do I want to be? Do I want to be a construction laborer? Okay, everybody has to start as a construction laborer if you're in this
Right.
industry. But do you want to just stay there because that's a okay place to be? Or do you want to be a lead man? Or do you want to be a foreman? Or do you want to be a superintendent? Or do you want to get into safety or project management? Your
Mm-hmm.
starting point isn't your ending point. As long as you're looking forward to where you want to be and then submitting to that person in that position, then that's where you'll get your blueprint. That's how I found mine.
I love it. And then your quote there that I think is we're going to use quite often is your starting point's not your ending point.
That's great.
Right. I love that because that's one of the things that when these kids are starting off, they're like, I want to be the boss.
Yeah.
Right. I want to be able to have, I want to have the, triple digit salary and do all the things that I'm seeing my dad doing or
Yes.
my, these people. And I love the fact that the servant leadership is a really good way to understand the nuances and the problems, right?
Yes.
Those people that are in leadership, there's a reason why they're leadership, right? They might have gone through the process of doing something wrong
Mhm.
and then learning from that and then growing. For you to be able to say, hey, look, I'm going to be working for you, but the fact that you learned from them and then you were able to take that and use that in your a new position when you might have gotten into management and then you were able to share that with other people, I think is awesome.
That's so cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you bet. So a couple other questions. I one, you had the Dry Bone Skate Collective.
Yes, sir.
Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me how that works, what you do for these kids, and what your hope and your whole mission is with that group.
Yes, sir. So Dry Bone Skate Collective. So growing up in my youth, I was a skateboarder, but I stopped at maybe 13 years old. And life cycles and how it goes around. My 13-year-old, at 12 years old, he decided he wanted to pick up a skateboard. We went to the
Nice.
skate park, and my son immediately fell in love with it. And then I remembered this was my first love. This is where I found my
Yeah.
peace in the chaos. And I mean, you got to understand, I grew up in California and in like LA, Orange County, where there were gang act shootings and all this stuff. So the skateboard
Yeah.
was my peace and my safe haven. I didn't know that at the time, but I found that out as a 35-year-old man. Like, oh, wow, I'm on a
Yeah.
skateboard and this is my peace. While I was out there, I saw adults, young adults, maybe 25, 26, not being the best influences to the youth in that skate park and in that scene.
Yeah.
And that scene is already rough. That scene is for, I mean, skateboarders, you're not a jock, you don't fit in with the football players. And you know what I mean? It's kind of for those
Hmm.
who are the misfits. They already had, they're a
Yeah.
little bit loners, they're weird, they're quirky, or whatever it is. So we find our place in the skate park. Then you have these adults and they were influencing them the wrong way. I'm seeing weed get passed around to kids,
Yeah.
and I'm a great man and I believe in peace, but if you pass my son a joint, I might have to put my hands on you. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah,
12, 13 years old
exactly.
at that time.
Yeah.
And so I decided I need to do something. I need to not go out there and preach any type of way of living or philosophy, but show up and be consistent for this youth. We started this a year ago. And what I realized is there's a lot of addiction, there's a lot of
Hmm.
mental health. And for me, addiction, it's a mental health issue because we don't know
Hmm.
what's going on with our chemical brain. And so we find
Yep.
substances, and those substances help and they get addicted to them. And so we're trying to sound this trumpet on the silent killer, and that's depression and suicide, and primarily
Hmm.
within our youth and our young adults. I do a lot of activities with elder men coming out of prison and drug rehabs, all of that stuff. But as we all know, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So why
Yeah,
not
exactly.
show up and meet these kids where they are and show them a life of living with integrity, living with morals, living with discipline, living with character, living a serving heart and a giving life, what
Yeah.
it can do. And so within a year, we've done about 8 competitions. Primarily, all those competitions are free besides this one that's coming up. It's in
Yeah.
September 6th. It's called
Okay.
Skate for Life because that's what we're doing. We're skating for life. Do not kill
Yeah.
yourself. Do not harm yourself. If you need help,
Yeah.
we're here. We're skating out here. We got mental health
Yeah.
professionals on site. We got live music. We got DJs. We got cash prizes for the athletes from teenagers to adults and all
Hmm.
of that fun stuff, free products. And we're just trying to be leaders that I wish I had when I was in
Yeah.
that position.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The fact that you're there, like you said, showing up, that's the first thing. And most people, most kids are going to be like, they actually care, right? Because they're here. They're not just going to be somebody that's going to create a website and hope that somebody comes to it.
No,
You're showing up, you're putting together something that they could be able to go to, have a good time at, and also learn. I mean, suicide is a tough thing for me. I lost a really good friend to it. And it was something I struggled with. And I never really knew the power that mental health could be, right? And so I'm always excited when people say, hey, look, we're going to be there for you. We want to be able to put you in a position where you're going to be comfortable coming out and having a good time with us, but you'll also be able to be along with these people that might struggled with you, and have people that can provide some sort of a relief or some sort of a value, right?
it's so cool.
Very
We've
cool.
seen the skate community really come together because another aspect is there wasn't nothing going on, no competitions, no nothing for the youth and my heart's for the youth, man. That's where I lost my
Yeah.
way. If I had leaders, I could have. I mean, I'm doing great for myself, but it took a
Yeah.
lot hard
Yeah.
work to get where I'm at. So if we can just help and guide those kids in the right direction, provide something for them, and all of the proceeds, because we do sell skateboards and they're the top of the line skateboards and shirts,
Nice.
all the proceeds go 100% back into the community. And then we have a savings for an indoor skate park because we live in the desert, man. It's so hot. We don't even have
It
shade at
is.
the skate park. So we need somewhere that has AC. And so that's what we're actively raising funds for. So, and it could be a safe haven for our youth and young adults where we have a lobby area. Kids could come in and just hang out, food, and you don't have to skate. You could just
Yeah.
come in a safe
You
place,
just be
video
there.
games, whatever it
Yeah.
is, tutors, all that fun
I
stuff,
love it.
man.
Yeah. That's awesome. Because that's one of the things that when you mentioned originally is that you didn't have these things when you were growing up,
Yeah.
right? And the fact that you didn't have it and you make it available for them now, you've experienced those types of things. And it's exciting to have somebody that can be able to put something together and allow these kids to be part of it. Okay, so the reason why we did all this is we're working with a couple of schools in your area, the Marana schools. And one of the things that they're going to be doing is introducing these kids to new opportunities to be able to connect with the community. These kids are probably going to look at and going to school, but they just don't know what direction they want to. And we created what we call futures clubs, future contractors, future dentists, future healthcare providers. And what we're going to be doing is connecting the community to these kids. If you were to meet with these kids, what would be something that you think would be the first step in the blueprint for success that these kids can do now that'll get them ready for an opportunity like you have now?
Yeah, that's so awesome. What we do is in the Tucson area, there's actually an event, and it's called Southern Arizona Construction Career Days. And it goes out to Marana High School, all the schools. One of the things that I've learned, especially in the construction trades, is people think that they may want to do it. And I'm going to be a contractor here. I'm going to put a little bit of
Yeah.
tough skin on there. People think they want to
Yeah.
do it. But my advice with them, we have Skills USA. Going to those things. And if you've been to those already and you're ready, then your next step is let's start getting certified. Let's go through an
Hmm.
OSHA 10 and let's look at the hazards. Let's look at what happens. Let's talk about how many people are killed in this industry. Let's talk about how
Yeah.
we can make a difference by showing up and actually caring for the people around us. So
Yeah.
OSHA 10 would be your first start because that's an introduction to the construction world. What are the laws? What are the regulations? What are the do's? What are the don'ts? What are the hazards I'm facing? Not just physical, but what about the health hazards? Because unfortunately, in the construction industry, a lot of people will retire, but then when
Hmm.
they go to enjoy the fruit of their labor because they didn't protect themselves with breathing and stuff like that, they're getting silicosis in their age of trying to enjoy that fruit of their labor.
Oh
But
man.
starting off with an OSHA 10, that first
Okay.
training is where I point people to as well.
That's awesome. Oh, cool. And so one of the nice things about this also is we have these teachers that are CTE. They're the teachers there. They kind of help with this whole thing, but a lot of it's just pretty much just giving them the skill set to kind of get started. That's why we wanted to invite companies like yours to be able to give them these are the things you really want to do, right? You want to make sure that you're in this position because that's going to put you in a position that's going to help you to get the jobs that you want and go in the path that's going to get you to where you eventually want to be, right? If
So
you want
good.
to be in management and so forth.
Yes.
So in this case here, we want to make sure the community knows how to get a hold of you, right? With the Dry Bone Skate collectives and the events you got. Are you guys looking for sponsors for that?
We still are actively looking for sponsors. My
Okay.
biggest heart is to make sure none of these teens really have to pay because there
Right.
is this event costs us close to $10,000 to put on. We cover
Okay.
that as much as we can, but then we do
Mm-hmm.
try to rely on payment, you know what I mean, to help cover up some of the things. So $25 allows youth to skate in this competition completely for free. Product toss. I mean, we're giving out probably 50 to 60 skateboards, and 20 of those are complete with wheels and trucks, and the others are just decks for, getting people
Yeah.
started. We got shirts, hats. It's an experience that our
Yeah.
community needs to see. So you could definitely sponsor on the website, which is www.drybones, and that's with a Z, BONEZ, collective.com.
Awesome. And they could, call out to the companies that are in the area that want to be part of something awesome. This is something I think they would benefit from being part of. So make sure you go to the website and connect and see if this would be something that you guys can work with. In regards to your training with Stay Positive, how do they get a hold of you in that case?
So you could email me at staypositivesafety@gmail.com. We will respond quickly, promptly, answer any questions you may have, whether it's John Maxwell leadership or coming out to train you guys on an aerial lift. We want to come in and help build your culture.
That's awesome. Ridge, this has been so cool. I'm so glad that you jumped on. Your story is amazing.
Thank
The
you.
blueprint is amazing. So we're hoping that the kids get a lot out of this, and then of course in the community when they get a chance to kind of watch this, we want to make sure that they get all this. This is something I think is awesome, and thanks for jumping on the call with us. We're going to come with another episode coming up soon, and we're going to have some awesome people just like Ridge on these calls. So we want to thank you for joining us today for sure.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, such an honor, and thank you for what you're doing for our youth and young people.
Hey, no, my pleasure. I appreciate it. All right, thanks, Ridge.